Thank you and welcome to the presentation of Nickel Industries. Nickel Industries is the world's largest listed pure nickel producer. We've been in Indonesia since 2008. We've built a large foothold of nickel production, and we're now transitioning the business into Class 1 and intermediary products for the EV and battery market. Last year, record group EBITDA of $43 million. Record nickel production of 131,000 tonnes. That was double the 2022 number, and record mine production of 13 million tonnes. Again, double the number in 2022. We paid a final dividend last year of 2.5 per share, which brought full year dividends to 4.5 per share. And subsequent to year end, we also announced a on-market share buyback of up to $100 million over the next 12 months. We have a very strong balance sheet that was boosted by a placement to United Tractors last year of 943 million. That was done at $1.10, which is sort of a 30% premium to where the price is currently trading. Just looking at last year, quarter by quarter, if you start with the chart on the left there, in the March quarter, we produced 27,398 tonnes of nickel. The white bubble above that is the average LME price for the quarter, 25,973, and the green bubble is the EBITDA from operations, $113.2 million. Coming to the chart on the bar on the right-hand side, 36,273 tonnes of nickel. You can see the LME price decreased by about 60% to 17,288, yet our EBITDA from operations was up 30% to $135.4 million. So we sit at the very bottom end of the cost curve. The December quarter last year was the only full quarter of ramped up production, and you can see that in the bar chart there. So we've been able, throughout the cycle of low nickel prices and high input costs, to continuously make very, very strong margins. So business is very, very robust. Just a bit of a background in terms of Indonesia. Indonesia's grown from producing 7% of the global nickel output just a few years ago to 55% last year. That's forecast to increase to 75% by the end of the decade. If you look at the map there, you can see the investment and you can see the names that are investing in country, and that's European, North American, Korean, Chinese. This slide just highlights some of the deals. Those investments are all along the value chain. So up to Hyundai's actually broken ground on Indonesia's first EV plant. There's battery plants. There's names like Eramet, BASF, Ford, Volkswagen, etc. So up to $50 billion has been invested into Indonesia. We think of Indonesia as what Western Australia is to iron ore, or the Middle East is to oil and gas. There's nowhere else that is as well endowed in nickel resources as Indonesia. In terms of carbon intensity, we have a 10% interest in an HPAL project called HNC, and the carbon intensity of that, you can see there, 6.97. That's almost half the Australian peer average. And so our target for our next HPAL is to actually sit right at the very left-hand side of that curve. So this next wave of Indonesian HPALs are the cleanest and the greenest globally. They're also the lowest OPEX, and so the margins from HPAL are extremely attractive. In terms of safety, 12-month rolling lost time injury rate of 0.23, well below the world steel average of 0.65, and a reportable injury rate of 1.14, again significantly below the World Steel Association average, which is 3.66. We're an ESG. We're in the second top quartile, so 69% worldwide of ESG companies in the metals and mining group. And again, these are independent third parties, so MSCI, S&P. We have a green proper rating from the Indonesian Ministry of Environment and Forestry, one of only two nickel mining companies in Indonesia, the other being Vale. We scored the highest score of all nickel companies in Indonesia, and the fourth highest score across all mining companies in Indonesia. In terms of some of our carbon reduction initiatives, we're the first mining company to successfully trial the use of electric vehicle haul trucks. We have an operational lease service agreement with Indonesia's largest solar project. That's actually 255 megawatt peak and 80 megawatt hour battery energy storage system. off the back of a lot of the work that we've been doing, we were invited to present at the COP28 Climate Summit in Dubai at the end of last year. Again, one of only two Indonesian mining companies that was invited to present. And it was there that we announced a targeted reduction of 50% by 2035 and net zero by 2050. Just to summarise our operations, if you go across the columns there, Hengjaya Nickel, Ranger Nickel, Angel Nickel, Oracle Nickel, they're all rotary kiln electric furnaces which produce nickel pig iron, which really is a China-centric product used in the production of stainless steel. If you come to the last two columns on the right, they're our HPAL investments, HNC and ENC, and that's our diversification into Class 1 nickel, into MHP, cathode, nickel sulfate. All of our projects benefit from significant tax holidays. You can see that in the second column from the bottom, ranging from 7 years up to 15 years, all with an additional 2 years at 11%. So a very attractive fiscal regime. The ENC HPAL project is our next phase of growth. It's a third generation 72,000 tonne per annum HPAL plant. It will be the first HPAL plant globally capable of producing 3 of the key Class 1 and intermediary products. That's MHP, nickel sulfate, nickel cathode. That will give us the ability to sell into different segments of the nickel market where we see margin opportunities. As with everything that we've done previously with Tsingshan, it comes with a capex guarantee. So that's 2.3 billion on a 100% basis. It's more than just a capex guarantee. It's a capex guarantee, a timeframe guarantee of no more than 2 years, which started in October of last year, and it's a nameplate guarantee. These capex guarantees are very unique, and there's nowhere else in the market where you see the opportunity for a company to invest in a project that basically is guaranteed in terms of capex, timing, and capacity. And we benefit, which I've touched on, from a 15-year corporate tax holiday, plus an additional 2 years at 11%. The project, our 55%, is fully funded from the 943 million placement that we took to UT, again at $1.10, significant premium to where we're trading today, and from US 650 million loan facilities from BNI, one of Indonesia's largest banks. This slide just highlights the strength of the capex guarantee. So on the far left, you can see ENC, capital intensity of about $30,000 per tonne of nickel. You can see here projects in the west. The shaded red is the announced capex increases. A good example is probably Odysseus, Western Areas, acquired by IGO. Acquired for 1.1 billion Australian, came with a capex bill of 300 million Australian. Within 6 months of acquisition, that had blown out to 800 million. And there's numerous examples of capex blowouts across the battery chain. The operations are underpinned by our Hengjaya mine, which is a world-class resource. It's a top 10 global resource, so 3.7 million tonnes of contained nickel metal. We believe it probably contains closer to 5 million tonnes. If you look at our production last year, that was 130,000 tonnes of nickel. Obviously, 130,000 tonnes into 3.7 million tonnes, that's over 25 years of production sitting in the Hengjaya mine. Again, that's the closest mine to the industrial park, and we have a direct haul road linking us into the industrial park. We've seen a significant increase in EBITDA from our mine as we ramp up operations. Last year, EBITDA of US $87.9 million. A significant amount of that came in the fourth quarter of last year, 42 million. And that was off the back of completion of the construction of a haul road. So we've now gone from 3.5 million tonnes to 10 million tonnes a year. And we're now applying to increase that to 22 million tonnes. So moving forward, we expect to see the mine as a significant EBITDA contributor. And so taking fourth quarter of last year, 40 odd million for a quarter, we expect to see that continue and in fact double again. When you look at the current situation in Indonesia in terms of high pressure acid leach and new Class 1 capacity coming on, the only operating plants are HNC at the top there, which we have an interest in. And then coming down, we have Halmahera, Posada, Legend operating, QMB operating, PT Huafe operating. In terms of actual funded and under construction projects, there's only a handful. It's ENC, which you can see there. That's our project. We have a 55% interest, fully funded, under construction. Then coming down to the bottom of that table, Obi Nickel, which is an expansion of Halmahera, and Blue Sparkling Energy. There is one other project there. It's a smaller project, QMB. It's about 30,000 tonnes. If you add those three projects up, you come up with about 200,000 tonnes of new nickel capacity, class one, that is coming online in Indonesia, that is funded and under construction. Where do we sit today? 118,000 tonnes of nickel with ENC coming online. We'll move to 157,000. As I stated earlier in the presentation, largest pure listed nickel producer globally, diversified producer as well. If you look on the left of that chart, Vale, I think we will actually surpass them, but they're a diversified producer, so they're not just pure nickel. Moving further left, Norilsk, Russian, sanctioned, uninvestable, Jinchuan, Chinese, DeLong, Chinese, Tsingshan, also Chinese, and our largest shareholders. We've only been listed a little over 5 years, and in that short period of time, we've grown very rapidly, and that's really been off the back of these CapEx guarantees. Look at BHP, for example, 56,000 tonnes. They've been operating in Kambalda in Western Australia since 1967. As I said, it's been a rapid growth for nickel industries, and it's because we benefit from a unique set of CapEx guarantees, but also very attractive fiscal regime. So in summary, we're the largest listed pure nickel producer. We are diversifying the business into low OPEX, low carbon intensive, high pressure acid leach projects, which will diversify our customer base. We've started a process where we're seeking strategic tier one off-takers and investors into our ENC project. We've had a very good response to date, and we're hopeful of announcing a partner towards the end of this year. We have the strongest ESG track record in Indonesia, and we continue to build on that. And we sit right at the very bottom end of the cost curve. So we have a robust business, high margin in terms of EBITDA, and very strong expected future cash flows. So thank you for your time, and